All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wellness Wednesday, Monday, or not Wellness Wednesday, our Wellness Warrior Monday night call is what it really is. So I'm excited to have all of you here with us tonight. And we have a really special guest here with us tonight, and I'm going to let Robert introduce her in just a few minutes. But before we get started, I was really excited about our topic tonight, which is healthy, happy moms and kids. And I just remember it back in the day, beginning my health journey when my kids were really little, and how important it was for me to have them be healthy and happy, to join a healthy and happy mom. And at the beginning, it wasn't that easy to take care of myself and them, but that now we have such great nutrition that's just super simple and super easy that we're able to do that. So I'm excited for our call tonight. I hope the rest of you are as well. So we have our co-host Robert here with us tonight. He's going to be doing this call for me. But before we get started, I wanted to bring a couple of testimonials onto the line tonight. Some young moms that have little kids and the benefit that they have had with our Zallevo nutrition. In utilizing our Zallevo formulas with their kids. So first of all, we're going to bring Kimberly Cousins onto the line. So Kimberly's a mom of three young, little rambunctious little boys. They're so fun. They just live right near me. She's married to her hardworking husband, Corey. She's been involved in network marketing since 2011. She loves to garden and meditate in her garden and with her huge sunflowers. You guys, I'll have to have her post a picture of her sunflowers. They are mammoth. They're so great. She loves bike riding. She's getting back into that. She took a break from it since she's been kind of sick, but now she's getting back into it. And Kimberly loves to make her home a refuge from the world and a place where people can come relax. So Kimberly, welcome to the call.
Hello.
Hello. I'm excited to have you here. And yes. I would love for you to share, because I know you're like, oh my gosh, my boys are going crazy. So I'm like, Kimberly, we just need 2 minutes. That's all. Yes. So if you can share.
There's a vent right above me. And I just quickly texted my husband. I was like, the kids are screaming in the vent to me. They're talking to me through the vent, so come get them. So anyways, yes, I'll make this quick. Anyways, for me, this all started with a shake, and I got into a really good routine with my kids, relying on a good shake every single morning so that they would at least have one fantastic meal in their body every day. And then I wasn't able to rely on that shake anymore. A couple of things changed, and I wasn't feeling great. And if I wasn't feeling great, I wasn't sure, and I didn't really know how to ask them and have them tell me. But if I wasn't feeling great, I was sure they weren't as well. And we changed some things up, and we ended up, even though I established that good habit, I needed to find something new that could fill that void for us. So I was on the hunt to find something, and at the time it was called Health Sync Global. And now it's called Zallevo, and it's the best plant-based shake that I have ever tasted. And for my family, that's what we need, at least for myself and my boys. And so we relied on that. And I was so grateful to have that to lean on each every day so that they have a great shake, a great meal, nutrient-dense meal with the minerals and the vitamins and the amino acids in their body each and every day, so that if like life got a little crazy and I wasn't able to have the healthiest meal for dinner, at least I knew that I was doing something right for our health each and every day. Okay, and then really fast, with also doing Zallevo, the 90-day best body challenge is something that I talk with them a lot. I involve them in like, okay, mom's made a commitment to be accountable and exercise a certain number of days each week. So I'm going to rely on you guys to let me have that time. And they honor that. They help me. My little one likes to exercise with me. And then also they help me by taking the pictures. My husband works long hours, and so they'll take my pictures for me. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you guys that I've loved is how I'm sharing my knowledge that I'm learning from all of you and Kjersti and Jim and everyone with my kids. So the first time, they've seen me fast before, but I guess the burn days are longer than fasting. And that first time I did a real burn day, I sat down at dinner with them and I wasn't feeling hungry or like I wasn't moody. I wasn't upset like, oh, you guys get to eat and I don't. I was happy and feeling great. And I prepared a meal for them. And I sat down with my huge water jug. And that is what I was just sipping on. And it confused them. And my little 8-year-old kept like trying to sneak me food. And I was like, I promise I'm fine, honey. Thank you so much. But that opened up an opportunity for me to talk to him about intermittent fasting. Obviously, I didn't use terms like that, but talk about what it does for our body. So it's giving me an opportunity to explain health and nutrition and why it's important for us and our family. And I'm just glad to be able to include them in all of this.
I love that. And I love that they're the ones that take your pictures. So if it's like crooked, we're like, oh, it was just one of Kimberly's kids that took the picture.
Nope. Yeah.
I love that. Oh, I love your story, Kimberly. I love your little boys. And thank you so much for sharing tonight.
Welcome.
And I know
Thank
that
you.
you weren't feeling well, and thank goodness you were today, be able to share.
I know.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Tell your boys thank you for being so good. All right, so our next guest is Emily Carter. We love her too. She lives in Southern California. She's been married to her sweetheart for 6 years, and she's the mom of 2 little humans, she says, ages 5 and 3. She's always on the go and is a mom group leader for her church. And she is super grateful for Zallevo Nutrition for her entire family. So Emily, welcome to the call.
Hi, guys.
Hello, hello. I'm so glad that you
Hi.
were able to join us tonight. I know sometimes you have church activities on this night, and so thank you for making this a priority tonight. We appreciate you.
Of course.
Yeah, so can you just share a little bit about Zallevo, the benefits for you and Zallevo and your family and your kids?
Of course, yeah. So when I was looking for some like a new nutrition, it was because I was lacking sleep and energy, and I just needed something that would give me enough energy to keep up with my little ones. And so when I found Zallevo, it was actually HealthSync, and so we had like the sleep and the energy and everything, and then it took it to the next level when we went into Zallevo, and that's the mood stabilization. Like, I love the shakes and the kids love the shakes, but the stuff that it does for my body to help me be a better mom is where I thrive, and my whole family has seen a change in me because I'm able to be a better mom. And so the whole family benefits when mom is happy in the household, because my kids are 3 and 5 and they're just going. But they do really love the shake. So Ryder's favorite is chocolate and Blair's favorite is vanilla, and they just go back and forth about which one's better. And sometimes we mix them and they just have fun. They just get the little frother and they do their own shake and they mix it, and they love being part of that. So it's nice and easy, and I know that the kids are going to get the right nutrients before school, or if they're going over to their grandparents' house where they only get sugar and lollipops and all these different things. I'm like, all right, before you go there, you're going to have a shake, because I don't want you to come home and be on a sugar high. So we have a balance, but I'm glad that I have something that it's a staple in my cupboard that I'm able to go to and say, okay, here you go. One for mommy, one for you, and we are all happy and healthy. So I just love the whole spectrum. And then my husband's been getting into it too. He sees that the kids love it, and so he's been working on it too. So now everybody's on board, and it's really great.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I love that you said when mom is happy, everyone's happy, right? And my mom was the treat grandma too. So I get it. You're like, let's send you out with a shake because we don't know what you're going to get at grandma's house. I love that. Well, thank you for sharing, Emily and Kimberly. What a light you both are to our entire Zallevo community. And we're just grateful for you and your, being young moms and sharing this with your families. So thank you for being here tonight and sharing. We appreciate you. All right. Well, speaking of people who shine their light from the core, I would love to introduce you to my co-host tonight, Robert Arthur. Robert is an outdoor mentor. He leads groups of people on, rock climbing and water rafting and all sorts of skiing and backpacking. He's a massage therapist, and he's also been in the network marketing industry for a long time. And where they led an organization of over 20,000 people, and they earned millions of dollars in network marketing. So he teaches me every single day. Every time I get on the phone with him, I'm like, wow, Robert Arthur is here in Zallevo with us, and we are so blessed. And what a blessing you are to our entire Zallevo community. So Robert, thank you for being here.
Thank you, my sister from another mister. Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome.
Yeah, isn't it just it truly is. How many of you were, one of the most beautiful things you're attracted to with this community was the light and the servant leadership in this company that we all see. And I think hopefully we're all seeing that, and it's reflected too. Emily and Kimberly, thank you both for sharing. And Kimberly, I love how it started with a shake, but it wasn't necessarily for you, it was for your kids. Yes. That's coming from, yeah, you're still muted there.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying both of us. I needed it, but I needed it for them too. So yes, I really want something each day.
How old are your kids now, Kimberly?
8, 6, and almost 4.
Wow, 8, 6, and 4. And Emily, you have a 4 and 5-year-old. So yeah.
Yeah, 3 and 5. Yep.
3 and 5, yeah.
How many moms and grandmoms, granddads, and dads love having the health assurance that our kids and grandkids are getting the optimal nutrition? Yeah, it's priceless, guys. It truly is priceless. So tonight we invited a lady who, as you get to know her, you can't help but love this lady, because I was just talking with my honeybee, Joy, who's on the line. And we were talking about, honey, I'm not sure I told you this, but when I sat down with Kjersti a few weeks ago, I said, Kjersti, do I have your permission to share something with you that I think why our tools and why our videos? How many love the videos that Kjersti has done? How many of you shared a video today or more? And Kjersti was on there sharing her heart and passion. So I said, honeybee, one reason why this beautiful lady, Kjersti, and friend, is these tools she's produced for us, guys, are so effective, is because you immediately know she's authentic. You immediately know she speaks from her heart. You immediately know that she has developed the art of communicating these sometimes complicated subjects and making them simple for us and our people that we share them with. Kjersti is currently, I'm not sure where she is right now, but she has a beautiful home in Whitefish, Montana. Kjersti, I bought my first Subaru, my first car ever in Kalispell, just down the road from you there in beautiful Montana. And she's an author, speaker, trainer, just shy of 20 years now in the health and wellness space on all different levels. My goodness, she's interviewed she's produced more than 3,000 audio videos. The podcast that you helped co-produce with some of your previous ventures, Kjersti, now number in the millions of views. And you have truly surrounded yourself now with individuals who were also on a mission and a purpose. Thank goodness that these divine nudges occurred and you aligned with, I'm sporting my Zallevo garb here. So thank goodness that all these things came together and you aligned with our company. You're now the director of product development. You've surrounded yourself with this world-class team. And we're just honored and thankful and blessed to be here with you tonight. So thanks, Kjersti.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Robert. That is so kind. Love and adore you all. And I know for some of you that are watching or listening in, we have not met yet, or we haven't met yet, but I'm looking forward to the day, trust me. And we all kind of feel like we know each other anyhow, right, through the digital world and through all these videos. And but anyhow, it's just a pleasure to be here with everybody. Thank you for your time, Robert and Jill and Jim and all of the leadership that's on here and putting this together. For those of you that are brand new to Zallevo, welcome to the Zallevo family. We are having some fun here, and we're just getting started. So it's going to be really exciting to see what the future holds. I do know that my team and we've been working feverishly on something amazing. And that's all I can say. I can't say anything more. I wish I could give you more, but I can't. But I will say this, that there was some taste testing going on recently. So that's all I can say.
That's all you can say. And you did label it secret sauce, whatever that means. So
secret sauce.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Yes.
So
we're having fun. Yeah, go ahead.
You're having fun, and you have some fun shoes to fill. Last week, Dr. Harper told us he made us laugh out loud several times. So it's all. If you haven't heard the call from last week, just a little plug for that call. It was truly a gift to be on the line with him as well. So Kjersti, I know on our pre-brief we talked about how it'd be really fun to kind of take this chronologically, because it's moms and kids. And we said, why don't we start somewhere even before the beautiful child comes out of the ovens of the womb.
Yeah.
And so I think it'd be really fun to start there. So before we go there, can I just ask you, how do you feel when these moms, you heard from Emily and Kimberly, and you know that you're blessing so many, especially kids and moms' health and grandmoms as well. So how does that make you feel?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it thrills me because, well, I mean, we've been all doing this for a long time. For me, it's been 20 years, over 20 years now. I can't even believe it. And just being a part of a great work in showing people how to refine their daily activities and what they're putting in their bodies to impact health and well-being. And just to hear Kimberly and Emily share, I know that there's a lot of others on the line that probably have a story as well, but it's fascinating. It's exciting. It's exciting because I think I've shared this with a few of you in the past, that when you are talking about hitting a goal, and the goal is health and well-being and longevity, you know as well as I do, when you set out on a road trip and you're off just 1 degree, it's going to put you at a totally different location than you're trying to reach if you're off just 1 degree. But really, in the grand scheme of things, when we think of coming in, waking up in the morning, moving through our daily lives, our daily activities, and then repeating the next day and the next day after that, we could be 1 degree off. We could be 40 degrees off our target of ultimate health, well-being, longevity, but we just aren't aware. So that's what Zallevo does, is it just creates the awareness. It educates people so that people can understand what's going on physiologically in their body. And if you know what's going on, knowledge then empowers you to make wiser decisions throughout the day, because you physiologically know what's going to happen if you don't do this, right? Or if you do that, what's going to happen. So I think that's why our philosophy here at Zallevo is very science-based, is because it's fascinating, especially if you can understand it, on what's happening down to the cellular level and what it takes to ignite the body. The body is made up of, on average, 37.2 trillion cells, head to toe, inside and out. You have about 200 different cell types making up various components of your body. And inside of every single cell, you have a nucleus that has chromosomes. And those chromosomes are made up of spirals and spirals of DNA. And you have God-given genetic coding in your body. You have the blueprints to create a champion body. It's just a matter of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, what you're putting in your body, what you're putting on your body, and it does start before conception. And I think that this is really exciting to be on here tonight and to have this topic because it's never too late. So if you're past childbearing years, it's never too late. The body is very fascinating in the sense that it's constantly regenerating, constantly every single day. While you are sleeping, regeneration is happening. So through that regeneration process, you can rebuild your body over a period of time and recreate and restructure or redesign or remodel your body over a period of time, whether it's 3 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years. Besides some cells that are within the brain that hold memory, right? Those never go away. But in the grand scheme of things, you can start at any given time. But it's fun to be able to move through the information that we will tonight of what's happening inside the body prior to conception, of course, through pregnancy, then into breastfeeding for the mamas, and so on and so forth. And even what men need to know, too, that are still in those childbearing years where you guys are expecting to plan for a family. So, yeah.
Yeah, well said. I heard begins with awareness, and thankfully you help us so much with that because of the tools you produce. And then how many of us want to remodel our bodies? Anybody? Anybody want a new model? I love that, from the inside out, Kjersti. So awesome stuff. So you just kind of teed us up for the next segment, which we talked about. And some couples even struggle, but some couples find it effortless to conceive and to bring a child into the world. So I would love for you to maybe walk us through a little bit about some of the concerns, some of the things to do, not to do around, first of all, around planning for pregnancy, and then going into that, or even how to prepare the body for even conception.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Infertility is a big deal. It has definitely been on the rise for the last several decades. About 1 in 10 men and 1 in 10 women struggle with severe infertility. I believe it's about between 20-25% of couples, so 1 in 4 couples, when they set out to start a family, they have difficulties conceiving. And it comes as no surprise that when you take a look at what's happening in our environment, that it's playing a huge part of it. There's the nutritional aspect, but then there's also the toxic load that the body's taking on every single day. And the toxic load that the body is coming in contact with, in most cases, it's invisible to the naked eye, right? These are pollutants that are within our environment that we might be breathing into our bodies, coming in contact with. It could be within the food that you're eating, the beverages in which you're drinking. It could be bad habits, such as smoking, or, there's a whole list of bad habits, but really it all funnels into the body. And the body is miraculous because our bodies are designed to take on these substances and metabolize and break it down and convert it into something and get it out of the body through urine, through stool, through our sweat glands, even through exhaling out through our lungs. And with all of this, the body can handle quite a significant load. But depending upon what you've been exposed to in your life at whatever various times, in combination with your genetic disposition, it could be that your body just can't handle it as well as maybe it once could, or maybe that it should. And that's where the backup effect starts happening. And you start feeling these small little hiccups here and hiccups there. So When it comes to infertility, a lot of these environmental pollutants that your body is working diligently to eliminate and excrete out, they are playing a huge role in the hormonal production of the body. And let's face it, the testicles, the ovaries, amongst several other glands in the body that excrete these beautiful chemicals or hormones, those all play into the entire creation of a human being and having the body balanced. So when it comes to preparing for the babies, it's called know your body, listen to your body, have a pre-checkup done, get some labs done, see where your hormonal levels are for both men and women. For men, it's testosterone. For women, it's estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And just clean house. Go into house cleaning internally, drench your body with the right nutrients, and the body will just know exactly what to do. When it comes to that prep time, you're going to want to take at least 90 days to prep. And the reason is because it takes about 90 days for a man to create sperm. So if sperm are being created today, they are not leaving the body for 90 days. It takes that long. So if you're wanting a higher sperm count and better quality sperm, then you're going to want at least a 90-day gap before you even think about conception. And the same thing goes with women. One of the other things that's very important with women is thyroid. If you have an underproducing or underactive thyroid and you conceive, the lack of that thyroid hormone being present in the development of your own baby, because it does lend there, it affects that unborn child's IQ. So that's where the visit to the doctor to have some labs done is critical, because in that way you can identify that, you can supplement where the body might be kind of missing a skip, missing a beat, and really prepping for that conception. One thing I would love to do that's really, really cool is share my screen real quick and show you what the Zinc Spark is. Can everybody see this? Yeah. So hopefully this isn't too glitchy based on internet connection, but the Zinc Spark is basically where it's the moment that the sperm enters into the egg. And zinc, it's a mineral. We supplement with this on a daily basis. So what you supplement with zinc comes into the body, comes into the cells, including the egg cell, right? And when this fertilization happens, you're going to see this zinc explode off of the surface of the egg, and you will see that it literally creates this barrier on the egg. How cool is that?
So what are we seeing here, Kjersti?
It's called the Zinc Spark. So upon fertilization, that zinc literally explodes off the surface of the egg, and then the zinc literally magnetizes back onto the surface of the egg. And they're suspecting that it is an instant hardening of the egg, an instant hardening of the egg to keep other sperm from penetrating the wall, but also to protect it from any kind of microbial activity and to preserve that fertilization. That is Nobel Prize video right there, because nobody has ever seen that Zinc Spark up until, within the last several years, to be able to even see that is even happening. Some people feel that that's the time in which the spirit enters into the body, but regardless, the physiological impact of the sperm implanting into that egg is absolutely profound. And that zinc explosion is a mineral. And those minerals exist within our Zallevo products. So, all right, so let's go ahead and continue on here, because we talked about prepping. We talked about obviously what happens when there is fertilization. The other thing that you need to do in that prepping phase is exercise. You've got to move your body. If you move your body, your lymphatics are flowing, they are active, and that is part of your natural detoxification processes as well. You're going to want to eat healthy whole foods, no processed foods. If you can afford organic, go organic all the way. If you're buying local with your fresh farm produce at your local markets, making sure that you know your farmers and that they are farming legitimate organic. You're going to want to step outside and expose yourself to the sun and get that D3 synthesis going on in the body. And if you live anywhere north of Flagstaff, Arizona, based on latitude, you are not, unfortunately, getting enough UVA, UVB rays exposed on on your skin to synthesize naturally. So you're going to definitely want to step up your supplementation of D3. What's recommended is 3,000 IU a day, but for some of you, it might require a heck of a lot more. And I'm talking 10,000 IU for some of you, but you can do a simple blood test for like $25 to determine what your D3 level is. Get some rest, because they did a study, and if you're sleep deprived, it has been linked to a reduction in testosterone levels, and testosterone levels for men it's critical for high quality sperm count. So making sure that you're getting some good rest. Avoid exposure to any kind of chemicals that are estrogen dominant or estrogen like, such as plastics, parabens, BPAs, those types of things. And of course, this is where your fasting comes in. Fasting to trigger autophagy and ketosis, which is another detoxification benefit to the body. So tap into burn mode. And also too, with fasting, you're also leaning out. You're burning through fat stores that are on your body, visceral fat stores. And the other thing too is watch your sugar intake. Sugar intake, if there's good quantities of sugar popping into the body in one moment, it's going to create insulin spiking. And insulin spiking disrupts human growth hormone. So if you're wanting good lean muscle, good healthy immune system, and a healthy body, you're going to want to keep your HGH as high as possible, which is naturally producing in the body. But if you're carb loading, even with whether it's alcohol or it's donuts or it's popcorn or potato chips, and the insulin spiking happens, you're disrupting your HGH. So watch that. Supplement with all of the good stuff that you find here at Zallevo, specifically with ashwagandha, zinc, and your B vitamins, which all exist in your Zallevo formulations, because that will also lend to testosterone boosting for men. Sleep in a cool room. That'll help sperm count. Limit alcohol, don't smoke. And last but not least, start increasing your proteins now, because every cell, whether it's it's a sperm cell or it's after fertilization and you're growing that beautiful little embryo within utero, it's requiring proteins. And I'm going to share with some of you that are brand new that the body is made up of mostly proteins, over 100,000 different protein structures. And they are formed through gene expression, whether it's your brain cells or your 80 to 100 known organs or your 600 plus muscles. It's all pure protein. So think about it. When you conceive, those proteins that you're eating lend themselves to the development and the creation and the growth to your unborn child. So whether it's the hemoglobin that's carrying the oxygen in your unborn child's blood, to the creation of all of the glands that are within their body, cellular communication, immune response, all kinds of things. Now, keep in mind that proteins are temporary, so it requires you to constantly fuel on those proteins. And you guys have heard me speak until I was blue in the face and on my soapbox on how to figure out your protein intake for the day. And this is important. And it's interesting because it's so funny how many people they don't want to take the time to calculate it out, because it's kind of new, right? Like, how many regimes have you started where they're like, What do you weigh? Let's calculate your protein. It's really not something that you hear about, but it's all based on science that you need a certain amount of protein based on your activity level and your body mass and size, because some guys are tall and some are petite and tiny, and same with men and women, and it's all individualized. So make sure you're calculating your protein for that good building up of the body, not only yours but your unborn child's. And then the other thing too is, if I may, Robert, is just continue on, because then from the prepping, then there's the conception, and then there's the pregnancy, there's the 9 months of baking. And really, if you think about it, you only need an additional 300 to 400 calories a day in order to help an unborn child develop and grow. And it's kind of interesting, because if you think about what 300 to 400 calories represents, it could represent all proteins, it could represent some proteins and fats, maybe a little bit of carbs, who knows. But this is a time where you should pace your meals, and pace your meals into your body. Watch your quality proteins. Again, quality proteins build quality bodies, and that's where Ultra 30 comes into play. Focus on additional omegas, omega fatty acids. We don't currently have one right now. If anybody wants a recommendation, we can do that towards the end. But and then of course delivery comes, and moving to delivery as well as then after delivery. Protein, protein, protein. You will help your body heal. Protein, especially whey, is incredibly immune supportive. So talk about immune health. The other thing too that's very, very critical during pregnancy is biome support. So with the Biome Sync Daily and the Biome Sync Trim, you're focusing on really good gut flora, microflora within the gut. Which also lends itself to all of the nooks and crannies of the body. Okay, including.
Is that something, I was just curious to know, why is that a higher need during pregnancy? And if so, why?
I just think, well, think about it. Like, so there's bacteria everywhere in and on the body. Mm-hmm. It is on your skin, it is in your mouth, it is in your gut, in your stomach. It is vital for digestion and nutrient utilization, guys. I don't know if you know that. Most people just think that your body liquefies the food, and you absorb what you need, and you eliminate what you don't in the garbage. But your bacteria makeup in your gut is critical for the liquefaction and the breakdown and the unlocking of those nutrients out of your solid foods. And so if your gut microbiome is revving high in beneficial good bacteria, your digestion is functioning optimally. You will have less gas, less bloating. You're going to have less rancidity in the gut, which lends itself to better bathroom visits that aren't as, aromatic, right? So, but I share that because think about it, you're baking a little baby, and this baby is going to exit out of mommy's body. And through that is the baking, the lending of bacteria, but also to exposure to bacteria coming through the vaginal canal. And then baby is born and latches on for the nursing. And guys, I know for some of you guys are just like, yeah, I don't know about this, but there is bacteria in and on the breast that the baby ingests that actually goes into their gut and starts to colonize and building out a gorgeous gut microbiome for the baby, and is pivotal for gut health as well as immune health for this brand new born child. So to go back to mamas making sure that they're watching their biome balance during pregnancy is an understatement. So making sure that you're focused on that, staying active, and then also to zinc and calcium, and then iron. Typically, mamas that are breastfeeding, they need additional iron and calcium for whatever reason. You can be tested for that, but do what feels good. And then, of course, water, and more water. When you're in utero with baby, obviously you've got the amniotic fluid, which changes out every 24 hours. So what is it going to be changing out with if your water consumption isn't optimal? So making sure that water is pouring into the body throughout the day, and same thing with nursing, to be able to give the hydration for milk production. So anything before we move on to the kiddos? Any thoughts, Robert?
Well, part of it we talked about. To me, one of the things you talked about many times already was clean the house. To me, it's fascinating being a man, but women too, hopefully as well. That so the baby is in there in utero, and the surrounding fluid is actually it's replaced every 24 hours, which is one more reason to keep that clean and healthy for the
Yes.
little one.
Yep. And then let's talk about fasting for 1 second, because as I mentioned before, you've got these beautiful genes that are in place that seriously orchestrate incredible surveillance inside of the body. Their job is to send out cells when something is detected in the body that's gone awry. And especially when it comes to the reproductive organs, sperm and egg. So when it comes to fasting is incredible, especially when you access the autophagy phase, which again, we really don't. It's funny, I watched a video today, and it was some muscle building guy that was like, autophagy this, autophagy that. He's like, you don't just flip a switch to autophagy. And so he's not necessarily a believer. He needs to dig into the science a little bit more, but it is such profound, such a profound phase. You could, the leaner and more fit you are, slide into autophagy at hour 16. The more polluted and under functioning your body might be, depending upon where you're starting in your journey here, it might take beyond 24 hours to get you into the autophagy. But the way to get there is to keep fasting and to get into your regime. So, and I love David Hinton is my favorite story of working your way on up into the fasting regime. Is first time he fasted, he made it to 21 hours. Then the second time he fasted was 29. And then he made it to 41. And then he finally maxed out at 48. And it could be that he's now gone beyond 48. Who knows, right? So, but he listened to his body and broke his fast when he was ready. But what I love about it is that every time he does this period of fasting to access into that autophagy, he feels the difference. And so now one thing to keep in mind is that too much fasting is not good either. And this is a recent topic of conversation, and we'll be educating on this on a future podcast. Of too much fasting can be too depleting for the body. It can be too hard, because the longer that you stay in that state of autophagy, the more catabolic activity happens. And studies have actually shown that too much autophagy, too much fasting, can actually affect sperm quality and sperm count in a negative way. So I would say that you are very safe to hit to the 48-hour mark, maybe 60 hours, a couple of times a month, in your house cleaning 90 days prior to conception. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because too much is not enough, or too much is.
Kjersti, is that and we're talking about that 90-day pre-window versus once the baby is conceived and growing within the womb. Yeah,
that's correct. Yes. And then once conception happens, then it's time to kind of readjust. So one of the things to keep in mind when it comes to supplementation post-pregnancy, when you're still nursing, is that the Ultra 30 is a gorgeous meal. It has every single macro and micro component that your body would ever need in being able to take out of food. It has all 18 essential and non-essential amino acids in gorgeous quantities. You have 72 minerals and trace minerals, which are separate from your amino acids. Okay, you've got a bunch of additional acids, organic acids in other formulations as well. My advice when it comes to what to take post pregnancy, and especially when you're nursing, is to consult your doctor. And in how you approach your doctor is ask for their opinion, don't ask for their approval. That's a really big deal. I think a lot of times people, I mean, the doctor works for you. He or she is giving you advice. You are paying them to help you. And so ask for their advice, not for their approval. And if you feel it best that you do this or you do that, then ask them for monitoring. So ask for advice, not approval, and then ask for monitoring. Typically, the Fortitude 85 is 18 years of age and older, and because it belongs in a mature body that has all of its glands developed and everything is full on up and running as an adult. Because there are botanicals inside of Fortitude 85 that don't belong in a body of, let's say, like a 2-month-old or a 10-year-old, just because they haven't gone through puberty yet. So if you're nursing, I would hold off on the Fortitude 85 unless you feel that your body responds to it a specific way based on mood and hormonal balance. And at that point, then you need to consult with your healthcare professional and just kind of move through that approval process or advice and what feels best for you. So how about if we jump straight to kids? What do you think?
Let's do that. And also, to sum this up, during pregnancy and primarily through the breastfeeding time frames, we're talking pretty much Ultra 30 and Biome. Yes?
Yeah, and then if they are normally used to caffeine loads, eVibe is totally fine. If it's burn mode, to be honest, I would drink burn mode daily. I wouldn't you can't fast. There's absolutely zero fasting when you're pregnant or lactating or nursing. You have to hold off no matter how tempted you might be, because you can technically, I remember back in the day, if you're a mom that's nursing and you're used to pumping milk and you've got a milk stock on hand, there have been women in the past that have taken time out to fast, and then they just express and pump all of that milk and dump it. It's pumping and dumping. So that milk does not go to the baby, because as you're detoxing during your fasting processes, it can be that actually resurrects out of tissues and comes into the breast milk. And so you don't want to pass that to your little babes. So it's pump and dump, but I have seen more harm than good through that. And it's not necessarily harm. It's just that women tend to struggle with their milk supply post fasting. And we don't know why. We don't know if it's the body's way of just kind of cleaning house and tightening it up and shutting down the factory or what. But you can drop into milk deprivation, which, of course, if this is the source of food for babes, you don't want that. So that's kind of, so I always tell people, no, you're just going to have to wait. But daily dosing of burn mode, I don't see why not. It's got incredible antioxidant loads to it. But again, this is a question to consult with your healthcare professional and just talk it out, get opinions, and see what they think.
Yes, and both products, the Ultra 30, and if you do a daily low-level dose of the burn mode, you're getting the minerals as well along with the
Sure.
The minerals are a crucial component of why Ultra 30 as well.
Yeah. The other thing too that I read not too long ago was that one of the things that you're up against when it comes to fertility is oxidative stress to the cells and oxidative damage, which that is just rapid cell injury and death through harmful pollutants that come popping into the body that wreak havoc. They bounce around, they're volatile cells, they can cause marring to the cells or even cell death. So in order to counteract that, it's called floods of antioxidants coming into the body to neutralize those volatile molecules. And if you can neutralize those those volatile molecules, then the chances of cell damage diminishes greatly. And we're talking egg cells, we're talking sperm cells. So again, antioxidants are critical for pre-baby and during and post.
Wow.
So again, burn mode, I would consult with your healthcare professional just to, just to be on the safe side.
I love it, Kjersti. And Kjersti, I know we got to cruise along to get through the kids segment, which is we've been referencing that throughout the call, but specifically about the kids. And before we go there, just real quick, Kjersti, I know in some previous ventures many of us were part of, we saw so many fun anecdotal stories of, hey, there's a little munchkin there. I'm sure he fuels himself every day, Kathy, with the shakes and all that good stuff. So Kjersti, can you touch on the fact that so many of us saw our daughters, daughter-in-laws, etc., before they had formulations like this, at least similar, and then what their childbirth was like, and then once they were on formulations in a system like this, the difference in the health of the placenta and the ease of childbirth. Any comments around that before we move on to the kids?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would probably say is that easy deliveries, easy pregnancies, or easier, but also too, it's the after the fact, right? So the placental health you don't get to see until when the baby's born. And so to have doctors, OBGYNs that have delivered thousands of babies say, wow, you've got a really nice placenta. That's not normally something you hear on the streets, but it's proof that whatever is going on internally when you do feed and nourish your body properly, it shows up. And it's kind of the same thing. I donated a kidney about, goodness, it's been 16 years now. And when they popped that kidney out of me, the doctors who worked at the Mayo Clinic, these were Mayo Clinic nephrologists that had done thousands of transplants and nephrectomies. And in seeing my kidney, they were like, gather around, this is a good specimen, check this out, look at the color, look at the variation, the blah, blah, blah. And that was so impressive to the entire nephrology department there at the Mayo Clinic that they nicknamed it the gem. So it is proof that what you do daily does impact the quality of cells that make up your specific organs, including the placenta. It is an organ that just sheds and dumps after a baby's born. Wow. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And that's real, just to see the practical result as well. So kids, obviously kids, growing bodies, crucial time in their little lives to have what they need for the body to be that healthy mental, physical body.
Yep, absolutely. And it goes back to what I've shared, before. Obviously, they don't have the 37.2 trillion cells yet, right? Because they're just little things. But one of the things that I wanted to address on this is that parents are always aware, at least for the majority, that they care about what goes in their babies' bodies. They worry sick if they're drinking enough water, if they're eating enough protein. It's like, especially when you've got the picky eaters. But whatever you can get into their body, it starts young. So palates shift and change through what mom eats through breast milk. And then you start introducing things slowly but surely to their palates to mature their organoleptic taste testing experience when they eat, right? So it's all about developing that palate early on, but not forcing it too much. But diversity is amazing. You start with the basics and then move into more of a diverse palate so that you can help your babies eat the things that are actually super healthy to them. The USDA, what they're recommending for kids ages 9 through 13, it just blows my mind because it's very, very heavily based on fruit and grains. And just to give you an idea, they are recommending 6 to 7 ounces of grains, which You guys, that's like 4 slices of bread for a little 9-year-old. It's 3 to 4 cups of rice in one day's time. It's 5 to 6 cups of cereal or cooked oats in one day's time. They're recommending 3 cups of milk daily, 2 cups of fruit daily, 2 to 3 cups of veggies per day. And of course fats, healthy oils and fats, but yet they're only recommending 5 to 6 ounces of protein. And to give you an idea, 6 ounces of chicken yields 46 grams of protein. And the average size of, like, let's say a 10-year-old is about 100 pounds. And if you calculate based on their activity, they should be eating 80 grams of protein a day. And the USDA is recommending 46 grams of protein a day. That's about half. And they have growing bodies. And remember, proteins are temporary. So this is where the Ultra 30 comes into play big time. For any mom or dad to send their child out the door with 1 scoop, depending upon how young they are, or 2 scoops when they get into that 10, 13, 15, 16-year-old age, is the most critical thing you could do for your kids. Protein first thing in the morning helps to keep blood sugar balanced better so that their mood stays more stable and they stay more focused. The other thing too is it's immune supportive, those proteins going into the body. Their focus and mental acuity will be heightened with protein in the morning like that versus carbohydrate loading with sugary cereals. And it's the basic building blocks for their little growing body because they grow every single day. Whether you can't see it, you can see it in a month's time or in 6 months' time, but they're growing every single day. So to be able to pop a shake into their bodies first thing in the morning, to send them out the door with 1 scoop is $1.83. To send them out the door with 2 scoops, it's $3.66. And it's probably the finest meal that you could put into their bodies because, again, it goes back to the quality of proteins and it being almost gram for gram utilized in the body, unlike chicken, right? Chicken's about half utilized. So let's see, what else could I say? Will they love it? Will the kids like it? Yes. And if you have picky eaters, do whatever it takes. Okay. So here's where I'm going to kind of go a little, rogue on you for 1 second, because if you've got any customer that comes in that has children with special needs, they need that Ultra 30 like yesterday. And I'm going to tell you a little story, really cool story. Met a couple. And this was several years ago, but it was a testament to what whey protein can do in the body. And they had a daughter that was 13 years old. She was in middle school. She was in special needs classes. She was autistic and was going through puberty at that time at 13. She didn't want to shower. She would only eat specific foods, and it pretty much consisted of sugary cereals in the morning and things like chicken nuggets at night. And the parents end up landing themselves, into my world, and they're like, will this help? And I'm like, well, let's see. So we sent them home with shakes. And the daughter was very regimented, as many autistic kids are. They're textural based, they're sound based, there's a lot of sensorial things that can be going on. And for this one, she loved her Fruity Pebbles in the morning. And so the parents woke up the next morning, blended a shake, and sat it on the table. And she, obviously she threw her fit. She wanted her cereal. And the mom goes, you can eat this entire box of cereal if you just drink this shake. So the child, the daughter, is so stubborn. She's like, fine. She drinks the shake and she eats 2 bowls of her Fruity Pebbles. They said that she walked out the door so green because she was so stuffed, right, with 2 bowls of sugary cereal and a shake. And this was on a Monday. So Tuesday comes around, comes out the shake. And they go, have at it, the cereal. This morning, it was 1 shake and 1 bowl of cereal. By Wednesday, she woke up the next morning and she could feel the difference. And she chose the shake and said, I don't need cereal today. And from that point on, You could not get this girl off those shakes. She could physiologically feel and see the difference in herself. She started showering. Some of her sensorial issues were they kissed them goodbye. And by Friday of that week, the school calls and says, "Did you change your meds? What did you do?" Because she's a different person. She's a different girl. And they said, "Well, we just started her on this protein shake in the morning." And they're like, "Well, listen, if you bring a blender and you bring the shakes, we'll make these things at the school." And she goes, "Okay." So that's what they did. So it was a community effort, and it was just really cool. So I share that because I know that there are a lot of people on this listening in that know of people that have children with special needs. And so don't ever underestimate the Ultra 30 and how it can suit the needs of your child, no matter what age, no matter what's going on. And it's affordable at $1.83 a scoop or $3.66 for 2 scoops. So with that.
I have a question, Kjersti. Sorry, Robert. I know that I've had this question quite a bit. If the kids cannot swallow a pill, because I know that you recommend Fortitude 85 for not younger than, what did you say, 18 or 16, something like that.
18 for Fortitude 85, unless you deem that you feel it's necessary for your child. If your child's more advanced, and 16 is the magic number for you, it's really up to your parental discretion. As a company, we recommend 18 and older, but you need to make that decision. Yeah.
Okay, but what about talk a little bit about the Biome Sync Daily and for children, and what they would, what benefit that would have for children, and if they can open the capsule or not. That's been probably the biggest question.
Yeah. And you know what? My thought is, of course, we've taken incredible measure to protect those strains inside of Biome Sync Daily and Biome Sync Trim, both of which could play incredible roles, especially with the trim with obese kids, because obesity in children, it's huge. 40% of children and adolescents are overweight or obese. So that's a huge statistic. That's 4 out of 10 kids. So imagine being able to give a child a Biome Sync Daily and a Biome Sync Trim in their little developing bodies with their Ultra 30 shakes every day and sending them out the door. Because now Biome Sync Trim, just because it's trim, I think a lot of times people think, oh, that's adult only because it goes back to your dextrin days or whatever the heck the weight loss pill was, right? I mean, people just kind of think that. But really, trim is about unlocking the body's ability to metabolize and burn fat, to burn lipids, stored lipids on your body. So it doesn't matter what age. The trim is going to benefit whoever needs it that has stored lipids and stored fats on their body to be able to convert and use those stored lipids as energy and giving you energy. And that's why people feel so good on trim, is because their energy source is trickling in and funneling from fats, metabolized fats. So the capsule that the Biome Sync Trim and Biome Sync Daily are in are a special vegan cap that is a delayed release. It takes about an hour for it to dissolve in its entirety. But as soon as it starts to dissolve and spill out those strains of bacteria in the small intestine, because by that time it's in the small intestine, then they can colonize beautifully. If you have to break open the capsule and put it inside of the Ultra 30 shake just because they're babes or they're kiddos and they can't swallow a capsule yet, they're too young, then I would rather have you pull it apart and dump the strains of bacteria in their shake than not having them do it at all. If you feel you want to go a half cap, go a half cap. You can pull it apart and reserve half of the powder, half of the strains for shake number 2 tomorrow or something like that. So, but something is better than nothing. And with their little bodies, even if you had a die off of, let's say, 50% or 80% because of gastric acid exposure with some of those strains, and where they just die off in the stomach and don't really make it in its entirety to the small intestine, I would be okay with that, only just because it's little bodies, they're smaller. So hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Great question. Kjersti, I know through the years, there's been so many creative ways, and sometimes it just, some of us need that prompting as far as how to be creative, like in pancake batter and pudding
Yes.
and popsicles. In oatmeal, there's all kinds of ways.
Yes, for sure. You could do, boy, that chocolate Whey would make some insane frozen pops. Now, the only thing of like pre-making something like ice cream or yogurt pops or pudding or ice cream, if you're going to make it and eat it right away, that's fine. It's just that there might be a twist to the taste if you pre-make it and eat it later because of the enzyme activity inside of the shakes. It might kind of morph the flavor a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know of anybody that can't drink that shake in the moment because it tastes so good. So, but do what it takes. I know we make protein pancakes with the vanilla whey based to increase our grams of protein. Does it denature the protein and damage the proteins? Yes, it does. It does, because you're subjecting it to heat, but still it adds the protein and slows the glycemic or the sugar release in the body. So you know how we all feel like after you eat pancakes and waffles and you have that sugar blah and you need to go crash on the couch because you just had a spike and then you're crashing, and it's the after brunch crash. If you put Ultra 30 Whey vanilla, 2 or 3 scoops in there, depending, I don't know how big your batch is, but that will literally keep you from the carb slumps afterwards, because we do it at our house when we go for big breakfasts. And then the other thing too is, so it tastes great. Picky eaters do whatever it takes. Whey-based versus plant, that's a preference. It's a preference for you. That plant-based amino acid profile is almost matching the whey-based. So do what you feel is best for you. There's certain people that do hybrids where they take a scoop of plant, a scoop of whey, and blend that together. If you do that, different proteins build a different or a very diverse gut. So don't be afraid of having diverse proteins. It's not one or the other. It's whatever you're in the mood for and whatever your lifestyle lends itself to. They're both the same price. As a matter of fact, the plant costs a little bit more than the whey, guys. So isn't that interesting? Because we have the absolute best whey on the face of the planet. And then age recommendation is 4+. So if they have teeth, they can drink a shake out of a straw. There are no allergens in the plant-based. There are obviously the allergen disclaimer in the whey-based because it's a dairy, right? It's dairy, although it's 0.3% lactose, so it's almost lactose-free. So even for those that have issues with their tummy. Let's see, for the biomes, for the kids, we already talked about that. You can let them go into the shake, or you can put it in some juice maybe, make a slushie out of it. But it's interesting because, again, as I mentioned, that gut support is huge. And it's also big when it comes to stress. And we all are under the gun, and especially our little kids. I mean, they go to school, they're exposed to lots of friends, they're exposed to, tests and hard, difficult days of studying, the social aspect of school for kids too. So stress can actually affect your gut microbiome. And as a matter of fact, too much stress can affect that barrier that's within that gut lining that is there and in place to protect your body from food-related bacteria. So stress wreaks havoc and weakening that barrier and allowing for bad bacteria within the gut to enter into the body, and that's what we call leaky gut. So again, just focus on the biomes going into the body no matter what age, and of course, pregnant, lactating, all that good stuff. No allergens for the biomes. Everything is plant-based. Let's see. Burn mode. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. And then I'll go to the next question.
Okay. And then burn mode, again, I would take it daily. Talk to your healthcare provider. It's recommended ages 16 and older. I introduced my kids to fasting at about 16. I did because they're growing so fast and so rapid that their macro demand, meaning their proteins, fats, and carbohydrates on a daily basis, is profound. So they will burn through those foods and those nutrients far quicker than someone of our age, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. And so it's very difficult to get kids to fast, but they will be able to metabolize and drop weight if they've got weight to release because of maybe they're obese, if you cut calories but increase nutrients. And that's where the Ultra 30 comes in. So if you can lower caloric intake but increase proteins and healthy fats and limited carbs along with minerals and trace minerals, that's the magic to developing a lean body, no matter what age. So I recommend introducing fasting at about 16 years of age. Fortitude 85 is 18 plus, just because, again, it belongs in a mature body. And then E-Vibe. By the way, there's no allergens in burn mode. And when I say allergens, there's 9 major allergens that are on the allergen list. So anybody that has allergies, you probably already know that. Coconut was just added to that list. So it used to be 8, now it's 9 with the addition of coconut. And same with Fortitude. There's no allergens, and no allergens in E-Vibe either. All of our flavors are protein free. So if there's any allergens to citrus or berry, in most cases, they won't have any issues whatsoever because they're protein free.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a question. Can a person with casein allergy drink the whey?
Yes, because there's no casein in our whey shakes, and that was by design.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Oh man, is there any other questions? Robert, did you have anything? I just wanted to go through the questions that were on there. I'll turn it back to you.
No, it's all good. I had a question myself around, you said protein in the citrus flavors. Is that what you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea there was even protein in the citrus flavors. So.
I know. You most people have no clue because you don't think of that when you think of a piece of fruit, right? You think of just juice and fruitiness and deliciousness. But every single plant on the face of the earth and fruit has a certain amount of proteins within it, and it's the proteins that actually are what ignite the allergen response within the body. And so it's the fruit proteins within an apple or in berries or strawberries or raspberries or bananas or whatever the case is that that is going to trigger that allergic reaction. So if you can get natural flavorings where the proteins don't exist, that's what you're wanting. So that's what makes them almost hypoallergenic flavors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And thank you, Kjersti. So question around iodine, or comments around that?
Yes, iodine is critical. So eat your seafood. I love seafood. People think that they need to avoid it. The only person that honestly should avoid it is someone who maybe might be suffering from a bit of gout, right? They have to watch their protein loads but I love shrimp. I love sea bass. I love salmon. Go wild, never farmed, and take advantage of that because you're going to pick up your iodine. You can get iodine inside of kelp and seaweed products too. As a matter of fact, the iodine that's inside of our Ultra 30 comes from organic kelp. That's our source. So for people that are extremely iodine deficient because of maybe the thyroid, in order for optimal thyroid function, you can actually get iodine liquid at the health store, and you can put it on the inside of your wrist right here, and it will literally subdermally penetrate down into and your body will take it in and absorb it. It's orange, but you can do the iodine test because if your body needs it, it will absorb in, and before you know it, there's no orange spot without washing it off. But if you don't need it, then the orange stays, and you can rinse it off within 45 minutes to an hour. It's kind of fascinating, but
Okay, but what with people if they're allergic to iodine? Can they have our supplements?
the only product that we have iodine in is the Ultra 30, and it is in a low enough amount that I don't think that there should be a problem, because even people with iodine allergies, they know what their threshold and limitation is. So it would be probably individualized at that time for them to kind of get that one figured out. Let me just look how much iodine is on here. There's 37 micrograms, which is about 25% of your daily value as an adult. So, yeah.
Okay.
Just check with their medical professional on that.
Yeah, they're going to probably have a good idea on what their limitation is. The same thing with vitamin K. So we don't, vitamin K is another thing that people can have an issue with. And so the vitamin K it's lower. It's at 30 micrograms, which is also set at 25%. This is why we weren't like crazy heightened on a lot of these, because you guys remember, we're still developing our line of goods, and you're going to see some incredible formulations come out that will be more targeted towards, individual ingredients. And so everything was taken into consideration with the creation of the 9 formulations we have so far. Jim, I saw you had your hand up too.
You answered the question of someone who might be allergic to iodine, if they could experiment with this, and they do need to find out from those people who found out that allergy with their doctor, particularly. Yeah. If that is going to be too much and set them into anaphylactic shock, which happens to this person that was asking the question.
Yep.
So they're really careful with anything that has any iodine in it. So they'll have to see what percentage, if any, they can take.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, cool. For sure.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. Well, Kjersti, I have 3 pages of notes here, and you've definitely enlightened all of us. How many feel definitely you've learned just a couple things about moms and kids and pregnancy and even pre-pregnancy? I love what you covered there, prepping the body, and so much we could actually spend the next hour just reviewing what you just covered, Kjersti. So, and again, guys, one question was how to access these recordings. Hopefully anybody watching this, hopefully you are part of our wellness page on Facebook, which is Your Next Level Starts Here. If not, get with who invited you, and they can invite you to that Facebook community. It's all wellness, health, product focused. It's a beautiful place to get resource information. All of these calls are recorded and posted there. Plus, we have a YouTube channel for our team. Just simply go to YouTube and type in Team Z for Zallevo, and then Global Impact, and you'll type it in, and you'll see these archive calls that we have archived for you as well. So Kjersti, so Jill, should we wind up the call and have Kjersti kind of summarize the call, or have any more questions?
Yeah, that would be awesome. I was just going to mention that I feel so cool that we have a YouTube channel. Like, that's just awesome. I think it's so great. Yeah, Kjersti, please.
Okay. So I think just in kind of summing everything up, because we covered a lot, and thank you so much for all of your time and energy. I know you're just soaking it all in, because your goal is to not only achieve health and well-being, but also impact hundreds of lives, right, with this technology. So kudos to all of you. I think what I would love to wrap up with is just going back to the quality of the formulations, because one of the questions I know that you asked Robert in prepping for this was, why supplement? Why can't I just get this out of food? And the bottom line is that we still need food. We need food. We need good quality foods. We need a variety of foods. You can get different makeups of different nutrient components in different vegetables and in different plants and fruits. And so variety is the spice of life. It's just that we know that even with even the best of diets, you're not going to hit your mineral mark. Your quality of proteins will probably be, far down on the scale, just because most proteins that you're going to be bringing home, you're going to cook, and it instantaneously makes them less bioavailable to the body. So when you're looking at our whey proteins or our plant-based proteins, the bioavailability is extremely high, meaning it's almost gram for gram utilized in the body, so that your body works very hard to break down those proteins. But really, after this liquefaction happens with the proteins, what percentage can your body actually draw in and build into cell tissue and recreate new cells and new tissue? And what actually is so damaged that your body cannot utilize, and then it's excreted out through stool. And that's where the biological value comes in very, very high with our whey-based and plant-based proteins. Is it's just very, very much utilized in the body, versus chicken is at about 40% utilized, 50% if you're lucky. Where you take a 30-gram breast of chicken, you chew it and swallow it, and your body works hard to digest it. 15 grams you can use, 15 grams goes out the back end. So it's pretty impressive when you're focused on quality proteins, how much your body will thank you. And you'll start to see lean mass gains without changing your activity levels, because you finally have high quality proteins, drizzling into the body and being able to build into your structure of your body, and you become more dense and stronger and more agile. So it's pretty cool. So that's what we're all about. We're, a offshoot there on the protein quality, but that's what Zallevo is. It's all about no compromise, and truly, we guard that gate very, very wisely on what ingredients go into our formulations, and we care about our sources. We care about the testing, and it's complete nutrition. Even now with 9 formulations, we're missing a few major components, which you guys will be seeing in the future. And then the other thing too is that when you're transitioning on to a program like this, just know that there might be a transition period. In most cases, you're going to have better energy, better mental acuity, better mood, better libido. You're going to sleep better. There's a lot of things that will happen right away, straight out of the gate. But depending upon how sick you are and what has been your regime in the past year, 5 years, 20 years, is you could go through an adjustment period, and we call it the Herxheimer's reaction. Dr. Harper loves to educate to this, and it's where you can have gassing, bloating, headaches. You're not feeling too good. You could have constipation come into play. And the advice here is just start low and go slow and ease your way into the lifestyle, and just move through the fire of whatever symptoms or situations you might be going through in the beginning. Listen to your body. It's very important to listen to your body. Constipation can easily be addressed with magnesium oxide. In addition of magnesium oxide, you can get it at Walmart, you can get it at Target, at Walgreens, and increasing magnesium to help to draw moisture into the colon so that you can eliminate headaches, push through it, water, gassing and bloating. This could be a 2-day adjustment, 5-day adjustment for sometimes for people that have really bad gastric setups with bad bacteria. It could be an influx of 21 days. It's very rare, but it does happen. But again, they just hold to that rod and just keep going, and they will make it through on the other side. And I think the other thing too, going back to the constipation, if you are just discovering right now how many grams of protein you should be eating in one day, and it's far more than what you have been doing, then ease your way up there. Meaning, if you know you've been coming in at 50 grams of protein a day, which isn't near enough, and you just calculate it out with your coach, and she or he has you at 100 grams of protein per day, that 50-gram difference in one day is so massive for the body. And your digestive system and your bacteria that's in your digestive system, it's not set up for that quite yet. So the advice is start low and go slow and increase your way up there in protein increments. And that's why sometimes we have people starting with 1 scoop shakes, and then they move into 1.5 scoops, then they move into 2 scoop shakes, so that their body can adjust and their digestion can adjust. Water, you will need to increase your water intake with increased protein, because it requires a tremendous amount of water for the body to be able to process and digest and metabolize proteins. So just the bump in proteins is an automatic bump in water. And I think that's why, because we're focused on quality proteins and restructuring and remodeling the bodies, that people might dip into the constipation side on occasion in the beginning. But it's an easy fix with extra water and extra magnesium.
Awesome.
And with that, I guess
well,
it's
there's a couple,
right?
There's a couple of questions. I know. So we've gone way over, but I could listen to you all day. I just put in there. So just 2 last questions I see. Is there any of our products that boost nitric oxide levels?
Oh, yes. I love this. We have quite a few. And they exist in Fortitude 85. Fortitude 85 will drive nitric oxide production, as well as E-Vibe. So those are your 2 go-tos for nitric oxide. And that would be amla berry. It would be ashwagandha. Let's see, what else? There's eight botanicals specifically. Vitamin B, the vitamin B trio that's in there, that helps to oxygenate blood too, but the nitric oxide production really does exist in the E-Vibe and the Fortitude 85.
Okay.
And then what was the other question?
The other question, if you could quickly explain a grade 7 protein versus a grade 1 protein, like what is the difference?
I have not seen that grading scale.
Okay.
Do they know the author to the grading scale, or?
Mint, do you know, can you clarify your question, babe?
I mean, if I had to guess, we would automatically be a 7. There's absolutely no question, just because I would
just
want
wanted
to see.
to hear from you, Kjersti. It was hi, this is Mint, and the way that it was explained to me, I had an Olympic powerlifting coach, and he was telling me that there are certain meal replacement protein formulas. They'll get really goopy and sticky, and they don't dissolve, and those are indications that it's a lower grade. You could put it in water and it just dissolves right away in water. You can assume that's a higher grade. I assumed we're grade 7. I heard there was 1 through 7, and I don't know. And I'd love to find out the author if you knew anything about it.
Yeah. Well, send me whatever you have. I mean, the bottom line is that there are a lot of proteins out there that they're denatured. In most cases, they're denatured. They're processed, and the way in which they're processed, they come out the other end damaged. Whereas the way in which our whey protein is processed, just specifically, I'll talk about that, is it's an ion exchange microfiltration cold filtration process. It literally keeps intact all of those amino acids and those folds of protein. So it is exquisite. It is undenatured. It is very concentrated. It used to be that we were told that we couldn't get an undenatured isolate in whey, and that is just simply not true. Our whey protein isolate is undenatured, which is the most exquisite that you can get.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Kjersti, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here with us tonight. I know how busy you are and how you have things to taste test, and I can't wait to be one of those people, and I'm sure the rest of us can't wait as well. So that's exciting. So let's just take a few minutes, unmute your line and tell Kjersti thank you, and then come stay on though, because I have a couple of announcements for everyone. So on the count of of 3, everybody unmute your lines and tell Kjersti thank you and how grateful we are for her. So 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank
Say, as
Appreciate
usual,
you.
Fabulous.
awesome.
Thank you. A lot of respect.
We love
You
you,
look
Robert.
gorgeous.
Robert and Jill, thank you both also.
Yes,
Yes. Thank you, Robert, Jill. Hey, thanks. I'll come